The human killed her mate in one blow, so she became his property. He woke chained on an upside-down starship, surrounded by violet-skinned beauties in heat. Cade Harper blinked hard, his head pounding, body stiff, and cold metal pressing into his back. Above, no, below him, 6 tall exotic figures stood watching. His body was naked, stretched out on an opalescent slab that shimmered under soft lavender lights. The ship's ceiling, if you could call it that, curved and pulsed, like it was alive. Everything smelled faintly of spice and something sweet, maybe pheromones. "Ah," came a smooth voice. "You're awake." The tallest of them stepped forward. She wore nothing but flowing silver bands across her chest and hips, barely hiding anything. Her skin was a glowing violet, smooth like silk, and her eyes sparkled with mischief and hunger. "I am Lady Marensa of the Virelic Council," she said, her voice thick with power. "You human are now in our care. Your body has rare traits." Cade grunted, tugging at the cuffs. "I don't usually wake up tied up unless it's Saturday and I've had 2 bottles of rum." The women around her chuckled. Their laughter was musical, almost hypnotic. Lady Marensa stepped closer, placing a warm hand on Cade's chest. "Your virility surpasses our calculations. You are stronger, more resilient, and your reproductive anatomy is generously incompatible." "Incompatible?" Cade smirked. "Sweetheart, I don't know your standards, but I've never gotten any complaints." Marensa leaned down, her lips just above his. "You are not here to joke, Cade Harper. You're here to be studied, sampled, tested." Cade grinned, his cockiness rising to match his rising, well, everything. "Study away, darling, but I've got my own lessons to teach." Suddenly the lights dimmed, and the 6 women began to circle the table. Each moved with a slow, sensual grace, hips swaying like liquid. One of them, shorter and curvier, held a strange-looking scanner. Another carried a tray of shimmering oils and smooth obsidian tools that looked both medical and highly personal. Cade's heart raced. This wasn't just a kidnapping, this was a ritual. "You're stronger than our males," one of them murmured as she scanned his arms, voice trembling with excitement. "Your muscle density is 30% higher, even at rest. Your endowment is 78% larger than standard virelic coupling length," another added, cheeks flushed a deeper purple. Cade chuckled. "Is that a compliment, or are you just nervous?" "Oh, we are not nervous," Marensa purred. "We are aroused. We've been in heat for 2 cycles, waiting for a viable mate, and now one has dropped right into our ship." A younger one, Lyria, Cade thought her name was, giggled shyly. "He smells good. Like salt and spice and something electric." Marensa walked behind the table, dragging a single finger down Cade's stomach, letting it trail past his navel. "This is no longer just an experiment," she said softly. "You are now a subject of interest and desire." Cade's bravado flickered. These women weren't just curious, they were hungry. And from the way the ship thrummed around them, it was responding to their excitement. Suddenly, the bindings released with a soft hiss. Cade sat up, rubbing his wrists, now free. The 6 women stepped back, forming a half circle around him, eyes wide and glowing. "No restraints?" he asked, raising a brow. Marensa smiled. "We prefer our males willing. Submission is more enjoyable when it is given, not taken." Cade stood slowly. The gravity felt strange, softer than Earth's, and the floor pulsed beneath his feet. The alien women watched every inch of his movement, eyes full of wonder and heat. "So let me get this straight," he said. "You kidnapped me, stripped me, measured me, and now you're inviting me to what? Perform?" "You are not a prisoner," Marensa replied. "You are a gift, a blessing. The Virelic need you, Cade Harper. And if you can give us what we seek, we will give you more than you ever imagined." Her voice lowered, eyes locked to his. "Pleasure, power, legacy." Cade glanced around. 6 women, 1 man, a ship humming with need, a body tuned by years of combat and human evolution, and a smirk on his face that hadn't faded once. "Well then," he said, stepping forward, muscles flexing under the violet light. "Let's make first contact. Properly." Cade Harper didn't walk. He prowled. The moment his feet touched the strange, pulsing floor of the Virelic ship, it felt like the entire vessel exhaled around him. The lavender-toned alien women stepped back, their curious gazes never leaving him. The air was thick with tension, not fear, not threat, but desire, tangible, primal, and hot. Lady Morenza watched him with narrowed, gleaming eyes. She was the tallest, most regal among them, undeniably the leader. But Cade could already see cracks in that cool, commanding exterior. Her breath hitched just a little when his shoulders flexed. Her fingers twitched when his eyes locked onto hers with a slow, confident grin. "I assume this isn't just a medical checkup," Cade said, his voice low and amused as he glanced at the tray of oils and tools beside the slab. "Unless Earth Healthcare's gotten a serious upgrade since I left. It's a compatibility test," Morenza replied, her voice soft but firm. "The Virelic are a dying species. Our males are sterile, weak. Our bodies require stronger seed, more potent genes. We've searched across systems." "Let me guess." Cade smirked. "Then came humanity, and one night out with tequila and I end up on the romance cruise from hell." The younger alien, Lyria, giggled. "What's tequila?" "A terrible decision," he said, "but worth it, apparently." Another woman stepped forward. Her skin was a cooler violet, hair coiled in silver braids. She held a thin data slate, eyes flicking nervously across it. "Your DNA has already begun resonating with the ship's biosystems. You're not just compatible, you're catalytic." Cade raised a brow. "Catalytic? It means you don't just fit our biology," Morenza said. "You enhance it, trigger responses our race hasn't seen in centuries. You make us so fertile," another whispered, awe in her voice. Cade blinked. "Wait, I've been on this ship for, 20 minutes? And I'm already starting a revolution with my pants off?" Morenza stepped close. "You underestimate your kind. Human males are rare in this quadrant, and your physical capacity has exceeded every scan." He leaned down just enough to whisper, "Lady, you're making me blush." There was a pause. Then slowly, Morenza removed the silver bands across her hips. The others followed, robes sliding down smooth, violet skin. Cade stood frozen as 6 alien women stood bare before him, glowing under the soft, humming light of the ship's walls. "This is not seduction," Morenza said. "Renza, this is survival. If we do not breed, our line ends within 2 generations." "And if I say no?" Cade asked, voice quieter now. "Then you leave," she replied. "We will wipe your memory and return you to your last location." Cade looked around, at the ship, at the glowing walls that pulsed with their presence, at the women standing with power and vulnerability in their eyes. They weren't helpless, they weren't forcing him, but they were desperate. And underneath that, he saw something else. Hope. Cade exhaled, then smiled. "Well," he said, rolling his shoulders. "Good news, ladies." 6 pairs of glowing violet eyes stared at him. "I'm not in the business of letting civilizations die out, and I never walk away from a challenge." Morenza's lips curved upward, not in seduction, but something deeper. "Then begin the trial." The lights dimmed, the floor warmed. The slab behind Cade folded into a luxurious, cushioned platform, shaped to his body. The room transformed around them, walls parting to reveal a chamber that pulsed with living color and sound, organic, sensual, alive. The first to approach was Lyria, young, wide-eyed, curious. She reached out slowly, hands trembling. Cade caught her wrist gently, then brought her fingers to his lips. "Slow down, darling," he murmured. "We've got time. Let's make this count." And so began the trial. Not of combat, not of machines or blasters, but of connection, of flesh, of purpose. And deep inside the ship, systems long dormant began to stir. Biological programs flickered awake. The ship, like its crew, had been waiting a very long time. And now the human had arrived. The chamber thrummed with a strange kind of life now, soft lights pulsing in rhythm with Cade's heartbeat. Or maybe the ship's. He couldn't tell. Everything on board seemed alive, watching, listening, responding. Cade lay back against the bio-cushioned surface, arms relaxed but his eyes sharp. He wasn't just here for pleasure, though hell, it was definitely part of the deal now. He was assessing, sizing up. These women had claimed to need him for survival, but Cade Harper didn't trust easily, not even when surrounded by 6 alien goddesses wearing nothing but expectation. Lyria had gone first, her touch curious but reverent. She wasn't shy, but she was overwhelmed. Cade had whispered to her, slowed her down, taught her how humans connected. There was something wide-eyed and tender in her afterward, like he'd given her more than just heat. He'd given her feeling. Next was Commander Thalexa, strong, silent. Her muscles rippled beneath her smooth lavender skin. She approached like it was a battlefield, shoulders tense, chin high. Cade chuckled softly when she sat beside him like she was reporting for duty. "You always this formal?" he asked, brushing her hair behind her ear. "I do not understand intimacy," she admitted. "Our race, we don't bond the way humans do. It's functional, strategic, scheduled." He leaned in. "Then let me show you how Earth does unscheduled." It wasn't rough or commanding like she expected. It was slow, intentional. Her breaths grew shallower. Her movements shifted from precision to instinct. When she finally gasped his name in a voice she didn't know she had, something in her cracked open. Afterward, she didn't move away. She stayed beside him, her hand on his chest, like she was anchoring herself. Then came Vereen and Nisha, twins. Identical in body, but not in mind. Vereen was shy, Nisha bold. They moved in unison at first, circling him like curious animals. But Cade could tell the difference in their eyes. He met Vereen's gaze first. "You don't have to prove anything," he told her gently, reaching out. Nisha tilted her head. "But we're expected to share everything." "Sure," Cade replied with a grin, "but not all at once. Even I have limits." They laughed, nervously at first, then freely, and one by one, they took their time. Cade didn't just bed them, he read them. Understood their fears, their hunger, their loneliness. He gave them presence, not just performance. Each time he connected, the ship reacted. Bioluminescent veins along the walls brightened, and a soft hum vibrated through the chamber, like purring. The ship wasn't just alive, it was responding to them, to him. Lady Marensa had been watching the entire time. Her posture remained straight, but her hands trembled behind her back. She hadn't moved from her post near the bioscanner, silent, unreadable, but her eyes burned hotter with every interaction. When Cade finally turned to her, the other women stepped back. "You're the one who started this," he said, voice quiet. "But you've stayed on the sidelines, why?" Marensa's throat bobbed as she swallowed. "Because if I join you, it means I submit. And Virelic leaders do not submit, not to anyone." Cade stood, naked and unashamed, crossing the room slowly. "I'm not asking for submission," he said. "I'm offering partnership. You wanted a specimen?" "Sorry, sweetheart, you got a storm." She stared up at him, breath-catching. "We don't choose mates," she said, voice cracking. "We breed, then we move on." Cade cupped her cheek. "Then maybe that's why your people are dying. You've forgotten how to feel." A beat passed. Then Marensa kissed him, fierce, urgent, almost angry. But it softened. Her hands slid up his back. And when they sank together onto the glowing floor, it wasn't a queen claiming a warrior. It was a woman learning how to want. When it was over, Marensa didn't speak. She just lay beside him, staring at the ceiling of the starship as it pulsed, with renewed energy. The chamber was quiet, peaceful. The other women gathered close, resting against Cade like he was gravity. like they'd been spinning out in cold space for too long and finally found their center. But then, something changed. A low chime rang out from the ship's walls. Lights flickered, the color shifting from warm gold to a pulsing crimson. Lyria sat up. "What is that?" Marensa's face went pale. The ship's sensors just detected an anomaly. Cade stood slowly. "Define anomaly." Marensa touched the wall and a screen appeared, showing a long black vessel piercing through space toward them. It was Virilic tech, but old. "Weaponized. Whoever's on that ship," she whispered. "They don't want us saved. They want us extinct." Cade cracked his knuckles. Well, they're going to be real disappointed. The trial was over. The war was just beginning. The crimson warning lights pulsed like a heartbeat, louder now, angry and urgent. The ship's walls vibrated softly, like it was afraid. Cade stood in the center of the chamber, surrounded by 6 violet-skinned women who had only just begun to rediscover life. His body was still warm from Marensa's touch, but his instincts were already shifting. He was a lover, sure, but he was also a Marine. "You recognize that ship?" he asked, eyes locked on the display that showed the incoming vessel. Sleek, black and bristling with weapons that didn't look friendly. Marensa's jaw was tight. "Yes, it's a Warden-class relic from the old Virelic civil purge fleets. The ones designed to sterilize dissident colonies," Thalexa added grimly. "They don't rescue, they erase." "Well, that's just fantastic," Cade muttered. "I get abducted, seduced, nearly ravished by half your crew, and now there's a genocidal death ship showing up to ruin the afterglow?" Nisha tried to joke. "If it's any comfort, most human males wouldn't have made it this far." "Yeah?" Cade smirked. "Well, most human males aren't me." The screen zoomed in. A single figure appeared on the enemy ship's bridge. Broad-shouldered, silver-plated skin and glowing red eyes like twin furnaces. "General Ivan," Marensa whispered, backing up a step. "He led the purity doctrine. He's supposed to be dead." "Seems he didn't get the memo," Cade said. "What's his game?" "He believes emotional bonding is a contamination of Virilic DNA," Marensa said. "That reproduction should be controlled, measured, emotionless. He's here to destroy this ship. Us. And probably you too." Cade cracked his neck. "Well, damn, that's rude. I didn't even get to finish the orientation tour." A voice crackled through the comms. Cold, sharp, male. "Lady Marensa, you've violated the sanctity of the seed protocols. You've genetically mingled with an untested male. You are hereby ordered to eject the human and surrender yourselves for sterilization." Sterilization. The word dropped like a grenade in the chamber. Vereen and Lyria clung to each other. Dora reached for Thalexa's hand. The weight of fear thickened the air. Cade's voice was low but steady. "He's not just here to wipe the DNA slate clean. He wants to erase the proof that Virelic women can feel, that they want, and that they don't need men like him." Marensa met his gaze, her voice barely a whisper. "What do we do?" Cade turned toward the console, his expression sharp. "We fight. But we do it smart. Tell me what this ship can do." "It's fast, agile, built for exploration," Thalexa said. "Not war." "Any weapons?" "Defense drones and shielding," said Dora. "No firepower strong enough to take down a Warden-class ship." Cade grinned. "Then we don't outgun him. We outthink him." He tapped into the ship's layout, mapped every corridor, every airlock, every blind spot. "We lure him in," he said. "Make him think we're weak, desperate. Let him send. Boarding drones or come in himself, and then we trap the bastard." "You want us to bait General Avon?" Marensa asked, incredulous. "No," Cade said, eyes gleaming. "I want me to bait him." "You'll get killed," Vereen said. "Not likely," Cade replied. "I've got 6 reasons to survive." He looked around. "You all woke something up in me. Something I thought I'd buried back on Earth. I'm not walking away from this. Not now." The ship trembled again as the enemy vessel drew closer. Alarms flared. Lights flickered. Cade turned to Marensa. "You trusted me with your body," he said. "Now trust me with your life." She stepped forward, kissed him, fierce and fast. "I don't care if it's your plan or mine," she said. "But if we survive this, I'm not sharing you with just science. You're mine, Earthman." Cade smirked. "Well, damn. Guess I'll need a proper title then." She raised a brow. "How does Mate Commander sound?" He picked up a plasma cutter from the wall, sexy as hell. And with that, the plan went into motion. The alien warship descended like a predator, but inside the belly of the Serial, Cade Harper prepared to turn the hunt on its head. He was about to teach the Virelic what happened when you backed a human and his lovers into a corner, and it wouldn't be pretty. The boarding klaxon screamed through the corridors of the Serial as enemy drones drilled through the outer hull. Smoke hissed from scorched metal, and sparks danced across the floor like angry fireflies. But Cade Harper wasn't running. He crouched just inside the ship's narrow engineering corridor, shirtless, smeared with black grease, and holding a fusion, torch in one hand and a grin in the other. "They always go for the power core first," he muttered. "Predictable bastard." Across from him, Thalexa and Lyria waited in the shadows. Both wore reinforced bioarmor fitted hastily from what remained of the crew's old combat suits. It clung to their violet skin like second skin, highlighting curves and muscle alike. "You sure about this plan?" Thalexa whispered. "Dead sure," Cade said. "If we're lucky, Yvonne brought the same arrogance that made him lose the war. Let's make sure he regrets staying alive," Lyria murmured, flexing her six-fingered hands. The enemy drones burst through the bulkhead in a hiss of flame and metal, whirring like angry insects, sleek, chrome-skinned, and sharp-limbed. At least a dozen, their crimson eyes locked onto Cade instantly. Target, human male. Terminate. Cade smiled. Right on schedule. He hurled the fusion torch like a grenade and dove sideways as the thing exploded midair. Blinding light, a wall of flame, and then a high-pitched screech as the drones staggered. From both flanks, Thalexa and Lyria struck. One sliced through, drone heads with twin energy blades, the other shattered limbs with raw Virelic strength. Cade rolled to his feet, grabbed a broken drone arm, and smashed it into another like a baseball bat. "I thought you weren't a warrior," Thalexa grunted, driving her elbow into a twitching drone skull. "I lied," Cade said, panting. "Turns out I just needed the right motivation." "Love?" Lyria teased. Cade winked. "And survival. Let's not forget survival." Back in the bridge chamber, Marensa watched the skirmish unfold on the holofeed, her eyes fierce, her jaw clenched. Dora and Nisha worked feverishly beside her, rerouting systems and charging the last of the energy reserves. "They're pushing through too fast," Dora warned. "We'll have full breach in under 2 minutes." "Then we activate the decoy," Marensa snapped. "Lure Yvonne himself inside." Nisha's eyes widened. "You want to let him on board?" "No," Marensa said. "I want to trap him." Cade Harper lay flat on his back, blinking up at the dim ceiling of the Serial's medical bay. Everything ached. His ribs felt cracked, his lip was split, and someone had stitched a nasty burn across his shoulder. But despite all that, he was smiling. Above him, Marensa leaned over, running a scanner along his chest. Her violet skin shimmered in the low light, and her long fingers were gentle as they brushed a strand of hair from his forehead. "Stop smiling like that," she muttered. "Can't help it," Cade rasped. "Never thought getting half blown up would land me in bed with a goddess." She rolled her eyes, but her lips curved ever so slightly. "You could have died. You should have." "Yeah," he grinned. "But then I'd have missed this tender alien aftercare." From the other side of the bay, Dora snorted. "He's delirious. I say we sedate him." "I say we keep him awake," Thalexa purred, leaning against the doorframe, arms crossed, muscles still slick from combat. "He gets more honest when he's bruised." Cade propped himself up with a grunt, waving her over. "You want to see honest? Get over here and tell me how long you've been pretending not to look at me like a protein shake." Thalexa blinked, her cheeks darkening to deep plum. Nisha poked her head in. Everyone's thinking it. I've seen the way Dora recalibrates his vitals with both hands. Dora flushed bright purple. That was for accuracy. Sure it was. Cade teased. Marensa exhaled heavily, muttering something in Viralique that sounded like "Stars help me." But the corners of her mouth were twitching with a reluctant smile. Then the lights flickered. A pulse, not a warning alarm, not damage. Something older. Deeper. The medical bay's walls shimmered with a pale blue glow. Everyone went still. From the next chamber, Mira's voice called out, "The Heartstone is active again." They all hurried to the source. Inside the containment vault sat the Heartstone of Virelia, a glowing crystalline structure like frozen lightning. It pulsed in rhythm now, echoing Cade's own heartbeat. He stared at it. "That's new. It responds to life bonds," Dora whispered, stepping up beside him. "To shared purpose, to mating compatibility, to union." Lyria stepped closer, her voice quiet and awed. "It has accepted you." "Us," Marensa corrected, eyes wide. "Not just Cade, all of us." As if in response, the Heartstone's glow flared, and from its core, thin threads of light reached outward, brushing each woman in turn. And finally, Cade. A warm hum filled the room, not sound but sensation, like being touched from the inside out. Cade staggered slightly, grabbing the nearest console. "What the hell?" "It's bonding us," Dora said. "Not just emotionally, biologically." "You mean..." "Yes," Marensa said, breath catching. "Our DNA is syncing." Cade blinked. "That's not possible." "It wasn't," Nisha murmured, "until you." The room was quiet, charged. 6 violet-skinned women stared at him, each different, each beautiful in her own way. Warriors, engineers, scientists, leaders. Women who had once only seen humans as curiosities or inferior. Now, they were connected, and they knew it. "You've changed us," Lyria whispered. "You've changed me," Cade replied. Mira stepped forward, her eyes shimmering. "There's one more ritual." "Ritual," he croaked. "I've nearly died 3 times today." "This one is pleasant," Marensa cut in, her smile slow and unmistakable. Cade opened his mouth, then shut it. They didn't need to say it. He could feel it, the way their hearts had synced with his. The way the bond went beyond muscle and mind, down into the marrow, beyond species, beyond biology. A single man, 6 alien women, one pulse between them. The Heartstone beat again, and every light on the ship dimmed. The serial drifted silently, through orbit, wrapped in a shroud of cosmic mist as the last pulse from the Heartstone faded into a lingering warmth. Deep in the ship's living quarters, everything had changed. Cade Harper stood shirtless in the middle of the grand atrium, the ship's ceremonial chamber repurposed for something far more intimate. Soft lighting danced off crystalline walls. The scent of Virelian blossoms, sweet, heady, ancient, hung in the air. But Cade's attention was fixed solely on the 6 women before him. Marensa stood at the front, tall and regal, her violet skin glowing faintly under the light of the Heartstones. Resonance. Around her were Dora, the sharp-eyed medic, Thalexa, the warrior with shoulders like carved marble, Nisha, the mischievous tech with fire in her blood, Mira, whose gentle touch soothed pain and tension, and Lyria, the silent strategist, always observing and now openly watching him. They wore traditional ceremonial robes, barely there. Gossamer fabric that shimmered and clung to curves designed to weaken a man's knees. Cade swallowed. "Okay," he muttered under his breath. "You've faced alien beasts, plasma fire, and orbital re-entry. You've got this, Harper." Marensa stepped forward, eyes like twin galaxies. "The Heartstone has declared what your species would call a union ceremony. This is sacred, final, binding." Cade's smile returned, cocky but softer than usual. "You sure you want to be stuck with me? Earth guys come with bad habits and worse jokes." "We've seen," Dora teased, stepping beside Marensa, "but we're willing to endure." Thalexa cracked her knuckles. He doesn't surrender, he protects. He mates like he fights, without holding back. Nisha snorted. And his genes. Let's just say our simulations had to be recalibrated. Cade raised an eyebrow. You ran simulations? Thorough ones, Mira said gently. We wanted to be ready. He laughed, genuine and warm. And I thought human women were complicated. Lyria stepped closer, her fingers brushing his. No. We are ready to belong to you and with you. Not as concubines. Not as subjects. But as family. That word. Family. It hit Cade harder than any plasma round. You're sure? He asked, one last time. Marensa touched her forehead to his. The Heartstone does not choose, lightly. Neither do we. They gathered around him then, a circle of strength, intelligence, desire, and love. The ceremony itself was less ritual, more shared surrender. One by one, each woman pressed her palm against his chest, their unique, marks glowing briefly with shared warmth. Cade responded in kind, touching each of them not just physically, but with the full weight of what he felt. Awe, respect, and a strange, wonderful affection he hadn't expected. When it was done, the Heartstone flared once more and faded into gentle starlight. The bond was sealed. Later, as they lay tangled on silken cushions beneath a translucent canopy, breathless and content, Cade stared at the ceiling, Marensa curled against his chest. You know, he murmured, this started with me waking up tied to a table. You were insufferable, she said with a sleepy smile, and surprisingly irresistible. He laughed. So what now? We rebuild Viralia, Dora said softly from the far side of the nest. With you, with us. And maybe children, Mira added, her voice tinged with both hope and certainty. Cade blinked. Already? The Heartstone enhances compatibility, Lyria explained. There's a good chance. He looked around at them. 6 alien women who had gone from captors to comrades to lovers and now family. Well, he said, exhaling. Guess I'm gonna need a bigger bunk. Outside, stars wheeled silently overhead. The serial set course toward a new beginning, not just for a soldier out of place or for 6 brilliant alien women, but for a future where human love, alien strength, and a little biological superiority had reshaped the cosmos. Together, forever.